What's up, everyone? Thralls and Metal back again with another album review. I am Shredlord.
And Necrotic Nick.
And this hooded individual, meaning me, I'm speaking in the third person now. And this other individual, I'm speaking in...
Sans Hood.
Sans Hood, another person. Anyway, we're excited because today we got to listen to the brand new album by a certain thrash legend band that we've been waiting for a long time. That band is, of course, Exodus. That album is... of course, Persona Non Grata.
This comes out on the 19th of November on Nuclear Blast Records. This band formed in 1979. For those that are not familiar with Exodus, if you're not, welcome to thrash metal. This band has pretty much been a staple since their inception. Again, Bay Area legends from San Francisco. This is their 11th full length, if you're not counting the re-recording of Bonded by Blood, which it was a re-recording. We're not counting it. But this is also their first in 7 years since their, I guess you could say, comeback album. I don't really consider it a comeback album. I just consider it, hey, another Excess album with Blood In, Blood Out, which was the first one to feature Zetro on vocals since Tempo of the Damned. And, well, I mean, in this 7 years, a fair amount has happened. Tom Hunting battled cancer, beat that bitch, and is back to beating skins, and will be back on tour here next year. And... yeah, they pretty much kind of just hunkered down and once again wrote some aggressive as hell thrash metal because that's what Exodus does.
I just love, first of all, that Scott Ian recently said that they need to call it the Big Five, because they absolutely do. I would even argue that we could remove one of the bands out of the Big Four and put Exodus in its place, but that is another video for another time.
Yeah, then we can include Testament too. And call it an even bigger five.
Wow. My music boner is just growing with every thrash band you talk about. But
you don't have to tell me every time that happens.
I feel like I do because I get a kick out of it. Anyway, the heaviness and the brutality is absolutely here. The production is absolutely fantastic, as it should be at this point in their career. I mean, there's really... for a band that's been doing this since the late 70s, there's no reason for a bad production unless you're kind of experimenting on an album, which they are not. They are sticking to their tried and true thrash formula.
Yeah, you can pretty much say that modern Exodus has a very distinct sound, and that, I think, definitely comes down to the guitars. Gary Holt and Lee Altus both love this crunchy as fuck tone, and it's just nasty. It feels aggressive as hell, and it kind of propels the music, but then when you add in everything else, it just gets even more nasty. The first three tracks, I have to say, just kick off. Like, there's no pretense, no bullshit, no lead up. The opening track, the title track, just kicks off.
One of my favorites on the whole album.
Same here, dude. It is hyper aggressive. You got those galloping, like, stomping thrash beats. Tom Hunting is beating the living shit out of those skins, and it is just propelled with anger, riffs, groove. There's really cool solo trade-offs because both Lee and Gary are incredible guitarists.
They can, so why not?
Yeah. And I mean, it's a 7.5 minute opener, and it doesn't really feel like it, which I think was really cool. Like, it just feels like, you know, just an aggressive bunch of short songs. I don't know, like, it doesn't feel long at all. It's just, you know, the adrenaline spiked up the entire time. And
the album itself is 12 tracks, an hour long, but to talk to Nick's point, it doesn't feel like an hour long. It was an enjoyable listen, and with the exception of maybe one or two parts, which we'll go into later, I feel like nothing really dragged. I thought it was pretty much straightforward, go, 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 and it made it very enjoyable and not repetitive to listen to.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a lot of just Exodus doing what they do well, like thrashy barn burners, especially. The beatings will continue until morale improves, and that's a 3-minute beating. It just beats the shit out of you, galloping, chuggy riffs. It's one of the most aggressive songs on there, and it's concise. It's like 3 minutes of just pure violence.
And I'm glad they chose that as a single because of the type of song it is. You don't put out an album in 7 years. You decide we're going to release a single, and it is just the textbook definition of a barn burner thrash song. 3 minutes, nonstop, kick-ass solo, aggression, we're out of here, bitches, on to the next. Now, another track that I thought followed that formula pretty consistently was the track Clickbait. It was a little bit more straightforward. It was a good song with some good riffs. The chorus, I don't know if I loved it or not, But as a whole, I definitely like that song, and it was much more just kind of quick, in-your-face aggressive.
See, my issue with that one, while I like the high pace, just fast energy, and honestly, like that's a thing with Exodus, like when they're going fast, like you just kind of feel it, like you're gonna get a speeding ticket listening to this. But my issue with Clickbait is I feel like a lot of time is spent on a long chorus and a long pre-chorus. So I kind of hit a point where it's like, listen, if you got rid of one of these, can't say which one because they're both pretty good, I think that would streamline the song a little bit more, because it just feels like there's too much in the way of like repeated verses in such a relatively short song, because the song is like maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But overall, the aggression, the riffs, everything you like about it is on it.
It's there.
One of the standouts for me, and it is kind of a different song on here just in terms of it being a little bit more atmospheric and very dark subject matter, because most of this is just, thrashy aggression. Like, you're just pissed at shit and you want to break things. This is more dark, disturbing, and I believe true, prescribing horror. This song actually has, like, some more kind of doomy atmosphere to it. You have, like, babies crying. I think it's about, like, horrible experiments that were done on people. I don't remember what the actual story is, but I believe it's based on something that they were reading up on. I was like, holy shit, this is dark and twisted. But the song itself is really cool in terms of how it flows. It has sort of a different feel than a lot of the other songs in here. More like dark and brooding, but still with spots of aggression in it. The aggression is kind of the main thing on this album, because it is just punch you in your face and then get ready for another punch in the face. You had it coming.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. May I please have another?
Don't say that. They're gonna hit you with something bigger.
Oh, that's the plan. Can you believe it or not, there is a track of 1 minute length on here, and it's all acoustic.
Kind of bluesy?
Bluesy, country-ish a little. Casa del Pantano. It is a acoustic 1 minute. You wonder why it's there in the first place until you get to the next track, and then you realize that this was kind of like a 1 minute introduction track into the next one, Lunatic Liar Lord, which basically starts as the other left off in the acoustic section, drags it on, and then finally kicks it over into overdrive.
It's like Alice in Chains briefly opened up for Exodus, and then Exodus kind of just pushed them off the stage, like, take your acoustic guitars. What are those? Is that a chair? I don't like it. It's acoustic.
Damn it.
And then they just take over.
Yeah, and I will say that sometimes the choruses of these songs, when Zetro tries to follow a melody, it doesn't always work out. When he does his normal thing, it sounds like Bon Scott if he did thrash metal to me.
It does.
But this song, the chorus worked a lot better for me than some of the other tracks, especially the previous track that I mentioned.
It's not really like an issue, like, and it isn't really necessarily about like Zetro's vocals, because he's hit or miss with me. Like when he's snarling, I like the fact that you can like kind of hear the disdain for things in his voice. I just don't necessarily like the vocal delivery. It's kind of the same thing with like Bobby Blitz from Overkill. I'm not the biggest fan of Bobby Blitz's vocals, but I can't picture him being in another band. Like Overkill is the perfect fit for his wild, frantic vocal style. Now on Lunatic Liar Lord, my thing was, I felt like it could have been an instrumental, because it's very dynamic, it shifts around a lot, and it doesn't necessarily follow like a very straightforward structure where you could throw in like a big anthemic chorus, because I didn't think the chorus really did much for the song. But all the riffs, all the lead trade-offs, all the really cool transitions, like it kind of screamed like this was an instrumental and they kind of put lyrics on top of it. But musically, I fucking loved it. And a really cool thing about Lunatic Liar Lord is the fact that Rick Hunold, their old-time guitarist, returns and actually contributes a solo on there and some backup vocals, which, honestly, the backup vocals are pretty interesting because they're done by the band too, but also done by Zetro's kids, who are in the band Hatriot. And I thought it was just kind of a cool little thing they added on there. But back to the vocals. And vocals are kind of an issue on here. Again, like sometimes when he tries to sing cleaner, and sometimes it's just too much sneer and it kind of turns into campiness, and probably the best example of that is the song Elitist. Easily my least favorite track.
I would agree.
It just feels, I don't know, like it just feels like it doesn't belong on this album. It feels like a hair metal band trying to be much heavier and edgier. Like it just, I don't know, like there's no vocal hook on it. The chorus is kind of obnoxious. There's a cool solo on it, and of course, because you have Gary Holt and Lee Altus, there's cool riffs. It just does not work as a song. Like it just sticks out like a sore thumb in terms of like the rest of the songs on here. Like it just feels, I don't know, like filler.
And that really doesn't happen too much on this album, which is a great thing. If there were two other tracks that maybe weren't as strong as the rest as a collection or a whole, The Fires of Division, I thought, had a cool syncopated beginning. The whole band was kind of doing this start-stop syncopation, and I thought that was cool. But after that, it didn't really do much for me, and then the Zetro vocals kind of did it in where I was like, you know what? Not on this one. The other would be The Years of Death and Dying. There's certain things that stand out. Like there is this cool tapping and melodic progression under the chorus.
Yeah.
Which I thought was cool. Up until that point, there was really nothing that grabbed me. That chorus kind of pulled me in a little bit. And there's spots here and there where the bass is isolated and you really just hear it kind of like fucking beefcaking along, and it sounds excellent. And those little spots in the song were about all that I really took away from, is going, yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Years of Death and Dying, that was, I believe, the second single, and that one was where I had an issue with the vocals again, but in a different way. It was the fact that he kind of tried to sing the chorus, but it's so layered with other vocal takes on there. And I don't know, it doesn't really present much of a hook. And it sucks because I feel like they were trying for like a little bit more of a melodic vocal hook on that. The riffs are sweet on there, but I can pretty much say that about any track. And I did like The Fires of Division. It's kind of a throwback track. I mean, it's something that you're pretty much accustomed to Exodus doing. Pretty much on every album, same thing with REMF, which stands for Rear Echelon Motherfucker.
Ooh, shit.
Yeah, but overall, I mean, this is a pretty solid album. It's not without some filler on there, but overall, it has the hallmarks of an Exodus album that I would like, because it has all the aggression right out front. The riffs are plentiful. Everyone, when they're firing on all cylinders, is just killing it. And honestly, like, when it comes down to great tracks, they far outnumber the tracks that are just kind of eh. So yeah, overall, I'm gonna give this 3.5 stars. I dig it. It's a solid album. I think I like it better than Blood In, Blood Out, but I don't know, like there's some stuff on there that just kind of feels a little bit extra. It is an hour long, so maybe like, you know, trim a little bit of the fat. But when it comes down to just flat out riffs and shredding leads, and if you're just looking for something hyper aggressive, Exodus still does that, and they still do that really well. And I kind of like that this is a little bit more of a no bullshit approach in terms of like not throwing on a lot of extra, you know, like atmosphere and stuff. Like, no, just let the riffs lead the way. If you're an Exodus fan, there's a damn good chance you already had this album. But if you were wavering on it, I'd still say 100% get it. You are going to be graded to everything you love about Exodus. So go get that shit.
Yeah, this is a 3.5 out of 5 for me. I thought this was a good album. It's got plenty of exactly what you were expecting from Exodus. It has the heaviness, it has the aggressiveness, the right hands are right and tight. The chugs and the thrashy riffs are there in boatloads. There is no stone unturned when it comes to riffs and solos, and just excellent musicianship all around, even from the vocals. There's still great vocal performances all throughout this album. Don't get us wrong, just because we spent some time talking about the vocals. Everybody does an excellent job on this album. If there's a criticism, I thought there would be maybe more memorable parts or more memorable hooks throughout this album. Exhibit B is pretty high up there on my list.
Yeah.
And when I heard The Beatings Will Continue, I kind of thought it was going in that direction. But this, to me, just feels like a 2021 version of just some good throwback Exodus. Like, they didn't reinvent the wheel here. Maybe they just said, fuck, we haven't done it for 7 years. Let's just get back together, do it. And I actually expect the next release probably to be a little bit different in terms of, now that they've gotten back together and released an album, you know, it's the next genesis of this new gel phase. So this is a solid album, excellent addition to the collection. And if you're a fan of any kind of thrash, what are you waiting for, man? Get off your ass right now. Well, wait till the end of the video. But then after that, get off your ass and go get it. Or while you're on your ass, get on your phone and
order it.
Click order.
Go to a record store, though. Record stores are way more fun.
Yeah.
So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you would like to help us out there will be a link down below. And
He says below.
Below, not below. Watch it.
Dirty girl,
Dirty,
I'm
dirty
watching
girl.
you.
We also have t-shirts still available. If you would like one, hit us up on thrallsofmetal@gmail.com. We are going to be reloading on sizes here relatively soon, and we're toying with the idea of different Thralls swag. So, yeah, I'm not figuring out what we're going to do, but we're going to do something a little bit different.
And if you have any suggestions, we would love to hear from you guys, because you guys are the people we want to give this stuff to, so it only makes sense. Please, what is your opinion? Do you want to see Thralls of Metal condoms? Do you want to... No, we're not kissing.
No.
A coffin might be kind of cool, though. I'm not going to lie.
A little lavish.
Anyway, I digress. So on behalf of Thralls of Metal, we will catch you guys later.